Good morning. Welcome back to Trending on Shaw. Here we are.
Yeah, and here they are as well, too. We have Mount Royal University student president, Eric Queenan, who is joining us this morning. Eric, thank you for being here. Jarrett Stock, who's also the president of Saints Student Association. Try saying that fast in a drunken stupor. And Jarrett Henry, student union president at the University of Calgary.
Maybe you've been drinking this morning.
Hang on a second here. By the way, he's
just
the only one.
trying to live the college life again, the university life.
Actually, I'm a U of A grad. Sorry, don't judge me. He's the only one wearing colors this morning.
That he is. He's got the UFC red on there.
Yeah. A lot of things that are trending this morning as well, too, is the first thing is, can we slow down, please? This morning, you may have heard, I know that we heard it this morning, there was two people who were walking through a marked crosswalk at 99th Avenue and Fairmont Drive in the southeast, your old hood, and they got nailed by a car. And yesterday, there was a 12-year-old that got hit by a car as well, too. Can we just slow down?
I think we just need to pay attention and, get out of our own head. Some people are like, oh, I'm going to be 2 minutes late for a meeting, but it doesn't matter. It's not worth it if you hurt anyone or you hurt yourself. I mean, it's easy to get out of that space where you're not thinking about it, but you just, got to be safe.
I would agree. I mean, I race motorcycles professionally, and I'm actually scared out of my life when I'm driving around more than I am when I race. Yeah.
I have to say, I was in my first spat with somebody yesterday. Last night it happened.
No kidding.
He was, I was going to turn, I won't get into details, but he was honking and flashing his lights, and I was like, I don't know where to go. Like, where do you want me to go?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we ended up awkwardly sitting at a red light right next to each other. So I rolled down my window, and I said, where do you want me to go? And he's like, there was tons of space. And I was like, you think so, but I didn't think so. And he's like, fair enough. And I said, okay. And we pleasantly both rolled up our window.
So you're having this conversation at the light?
Yeah.
You're lucky it ended up nicely.
Yeah, no kidding.
If it was Jarrett, it wouldn't be like that.
We both kind of agreed to disagree and moved on.
It starts with the young. I mean, as much as this sounds so ridiculous, it does start with the young, because most of the drivers on the road today are, well, they're older than 20. But it just never ends.
But do we do enough training? Do we have enough driving training? Because a lot of times our parents are teaching us their bad habits.
That's a good question. I mean, I had to do quite a bit of training. I don't know what it's like in Alberta. I'm from Saskatchewan originally.
So really? Training in Saskatchewan?
There's nothing to hit. Don't
Were
get
there
me
any
wrong.
lights?
But, well, I'm also from a small town, so there are no lights. But I had to take like 10 practice drives that were each an hour long with a driver instructor. So at least for me, I certainly learned the habits I use today in those practice sessions. So I don't know what it's like in Alberta.
I had to do the same driver's course through AMA, I believe it was, and before I went for my driver's license. And I don't know, it even for me, it goes past driver's training. You just gotta, like Eric was saying, relax. Like the hardest part of your day isn't getting from point A to point B. You just take that time.
Sometimes
to have
it
your own
is.
thoughts.
It feels like it.
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes you just gotta let that go and just be like, this is okay.
I talk to a lot of people, like when they go and do their driver's test, they're driving completely differently. When they were, and it's like
so true.
The penalty of the worst penalty of speeding is not like a $200 or $150 fine. It's like it's hurting somebody, and I think that needs to be like the message when you're around driver training, is like understanding the consequences of not driving safely.
And I think a lot of people come from outside, like Saskatchewan, right? So you get here, where I was trained in Victoria. There's no 3-lane highways, so I'm driving down Deerfoot. I'm like, how do I change lanes? Yeah, I was never taught that, so I had to Google it, how to change lanes on a 3-lane highway. So.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a stereotype too. So we see Jarrett driving along in his car and it's got Saskatchewan plates on it. We go, oh no, get out of his way.
Hey, it's a great card to play though. Whenever I do something wrong, I'm like, oh, it's okay, I got SAS plates on. They'll understand. It's the same thing in Saskatchewan when you see someone from Manitoba. We're like, oh, here we go, someone from Manitoba.
Nice. Jarrett Henry, student union president of the U of C, is joining us on panel this morning as well too. Jarrett, before we get going, we have a video question for you. So again, have a look, have a listen. Here's Jarrett. Question for you.
I'm a rugby player at the University of Calgary, and I'm just wondering, why don't more students come out to support Dinos athletics?
That's a common theme, it seems to be.
We talked a little bit about that a little earlier.
Well, it's really tough. I think it takes time, because I think it's all about building a culture of, campus pride, athletics pride on your campus. I mean, when you go to the university in the States, it's just a given that you go to the hometown game, you go to every football game, and they pack 100,000 fans in the stands. Whereas I think a lot of people, they might go to their first hockey game at the University of Calgary or their rugby game, and then if there's 50 people in the stands, it's not really, the thing to do, then they don't do it again. But I think we're making progress. One example that we lightheartedly chatted about earlier is the Crochard Classic. So that started 3 years ago. I think the first game, there was around 4,000 people there, which is great. They had it in Saddledome. The Flames put on the full in-game experience for all the university students there. And it's grown year after year. This year there were 8,800 people there, all from Mount Royal and the University of Calgary. So I think it's coming. It just takes time, and it starts in students' first year through orientation week, and I think we have to build it piece by piece from there.
You're finding the same kind of issues, guys?
Yeah, and I mean, like you mentioned about the Crochard Classic, it has been growing, but it's a cultural thing on campus. You got to make it the norm that people are going out to these sporting events or just getting involved in general.
I think there's a huge part of campus life is getting involved in that sort of thing. For us, it's a little bit different. We have 2-year diplomas, so we're pumping people out through 6 courses a semester sort of thing. So it's really difficult to on top of getting people out to balance with schoolwork.
And we have a Twitter question that was just sent in from Kimmy Wynn. She says, what actions have you taken to support student mental health on campus?
Great question. So we actually, this fall, we had the first ever student-led mental health conference. It was called Meet Your Monkey, kind of a reference to the whole monkey on your back or elephant in the room. And it was great because we had students from all across campus with all the different kinds of experiences talking about, what works for them, the issues they face, the barriers they face. And then we're actually just working on a report from that right now to take to the university, to take to the government and say, here's the problem, here's some of the solutions that the students themselves are coming up with. One thing we've been blessed with actually is that we have $1 million a year from the provincial government on our campus dedicated to mental health resources.
Wow.
So we've seen a big improvement at our wellness center with the reduction of wait times for people who need to see a psychiatrist or a counselor, as well as just different programming across campus trying to reduce the stigma about mental health. I mean, it's one of those situations. And we saw a great example of it yesterday with the Bell Let's Talk campaign. But people, they get a broken leg and it's just obvious, you go to the doctor. But people who start feeling depressed, they think that somehow that's internal and it's somehow different from a physical illness, which it isn't.
And something that I've noticed at all 3 schools is you guys are taking exams weeks very differently than they have been taken in the past. It's more of an understanding and helping each other out time, whereas in the past maybe you'd hidden away to study.
Isolate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of programs that I think happen at Mount Royal, and I think the UFC and State do similar. We have it might sound funny, but we have a puppy room where we just have puppies sitting in a room for an hour, and people just come in. Yeah. And every single time I've gone in there, it's just packed with students. Students really love it. We have like a Get Well cart where we're just going around campus giving out healthy snacks to students while they're studying. Because I know when I was taking 5 classes, you're studying, you're just not taking care of yourself. You're not eating right, and it's just having that nice little. It's like a nice little gift, and just encouraging students to take care of themselves.
Real quickly, affordable housing is an issue at the U of C.
Absolutely, and I think it's an issue for all of us. The Calgary vacancy rate is around 0 to 1% each year, and so that makes it extremely tough for students to first of all get a place because students often aren't on the top of renters' wish lists. I found that myself this summer. You try and rent a house, and your 3 university age guys, they don't really want to rent to you. And to be, that's just one part of it, but the cost is the other, because as vacancy rate goes down, the rent goes up. And so one of the issues that we've been really disappointed with so far this year is the progress on secondary suites. So those are basement suites that are legal in every other major city in North America, except for Calgary. So it's a potential solution where you could have, these affordable forms of housing throughout the city, and it would cost the city nothing. Right. But instead, we're keeping them illegal, which keeps them not only low in number for the number of opportunities it gives students, but it also keeps them unsafe, because if a student isn't living in a secondary suite where the windows are barred or there isn't proper fire safety protection, they can't take that to the city and get any rights underneath the Residential Tenancy Act, because if they take it to the city, they get kicked out for being in an illegal suite.
Great point, Jarrett. Thank you very much. Jarrett Henry, Student Union President at the U of C. Some great panelists this morning.
Great topics. Also, Lindy is out there learning how to teach dogs, and more or less, I think more playing with them than actually trying to teach them.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they have a puppy room.
Lindy, who have you found?
Which one's Lindy?
We are definitely training over here, Kate, but a little bit of play as well. So now that we know some of the basics, these dogs look pretty well trained. They're sitting over there while we're over here. What are we doing right now?
So Oliver and Tavin are practicing their relax with a whole bunch of distance. What we're gonna have happen though is Dave and Kathy are gonna call them over to us.
Okay.
And we're gonna get some snuggles from Oliver and Tavin.
Okay, so let's see this in action. So now they're just hanging out, chilling. So what's the word? So just whisper the word that they say.
They just, that's a good point, because they do know when other people say it that means come over too. But they just choose,
count down then.
They choose kind of their own words to call their dog, so we can count them down. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, good puppies.
Yay!
Good job.
So Oliver and Tavin attend daycare at Sit Happens together, and they love each other, so that was harder on them than you think.
Okay, and so if somebody wants to train their dog or find out more information, what's the website?
The Sit Happens website is www.sithappens.org.
Awesome. And then one other thing, Oliver, I saw Oliver do is pretty cool. High five. Who doesn't like to high five? Can we show him that? Good job, Ollie. Can I do it with him too, or does he only do it with you?
Yeah,
High
so
five,
fingers
Ollie.
up is high five.
High five.
There you
Oh,
go.
good
Fingers down
puppy.
is touch with your nose.
Touch with nose.
There you go.
Awesome. And earlier, Oliver was kind of wrestling through my handbag over there. Is that something you taught him to pickpocket, or is that what he does?
He's always searching for food, so if you have anything in there that smells nice, he's after it.
Awesome. All right. Well, good job. Now it's playtime, doggies. Oliver, go play. Go play. So we're just going to have fun now, guys. So get out of here.
I don't think we're going to see Lindy for the rest of the day.
She's been having fun all morning. I mean, is
know.
that allowed?
No, not here.
Okay, we are going to wrap up our trending poll question this morning, but again, you still have a chance to vote as well, too. We're asking you this morning, what schooling do you need in today's job market? And here's how you're voting. Most of you are saying both. Some of you are saying a degree. Some of you are saying a diploma. So again, you can still post your answers on Twitter or Facebook. You'll find the link to our trending poll at Trending on Shaw.
And one last quick look at our gorgeous weather outside, because we all know it's going to change as we get into this weekend. Could see that snow start as soon as tomorrow afternoon or into tomorrow evening. So get outside, enjoy that sunshine today. We're sitting at -2 with a bit of a breeze. Feels like -6 out there right now.
Big thank you to our guests this morning. We have Eric Queenan, who's the Student Association President at MRU University. Man, love it. We also have Jarrett Stock, President at SAIT Students Association President. Jarrett, thank you. And also Jarrett, who is, they're not related, UC Student Union President as well, too. Guys, a lot of discussion continues to happen with the universities and, of course, with SAIT as well, too. And it's so great to have you all three here on panel. And again, they seem to have a nice relationship here.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are all going to go have drinks and continue this discussion after this show.
Maybe a Super Bowl party.
It's a little early. I mean, it is 10:30 in the morning.
Right, right.
If this was happening at 5 o'clock, we probably would be going to drinks after.
Lunch then.
Yeah.
But if there's anything, you're probably realizing, hey, we have some common issues, right? Like you mentioned housing, Jarrett.
Absolutely. No, it's even though we do have different approaches at our universities or at State Polytechnic, there are a lot of common issues that student faces, whether it's housing, whether it's the cost of education or mental health. They affect all of us.
Yeah, good stuff.